Center for Action and Contemplation presents a homily by Father Richard Rohr.
So as I said, today we celebrate the feast of the victory of the Holy Cross. Now, to try to explain this, I want you to image something that you've seen many times and probably paid no attention to. When you drive along these streets, you see often on the telephone poles these big gray transformers. Now, I'm not an electrician, so I won't explain this very well, but I know this much. The voltage comes in at a dangerous level. It's unusable. It will be destructive. But whatever happens in this big gray box, it is transformed and it comes out at a safe and a usable level. I want you to hold on to that, because that's the victory of the Holy Cross. That something comes in and it's transformed and changed and not returned in the same way. Now you heard the first reading where this is first indicated. The people of Israel going through the desert have been bitten by snakes. And Moses does a strange thing. Instructed by God, he says, put the snake up on a pole, and whoever looks at it will be saved. Now, doesn't that sound like some kind of pagan religion? What is going on here? Well, it's what you call a vaccination or an inoculation. You give a person just enough of the disease so that in fact they overcome it. You give a person just enough of the disease to recognize they have a problem. And that shocks them into the solution. So the very snake that bit them is the snake that saves them. That's the mystery of the cross. So Jesus on the cross accepts the victimhood that the world offers God. And he does not return it in kind. He becomes the victim, but he does not create victims back. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. That's a high level of life, love, God, forgiveness, to be able to talk that way. So, let's bring it down to our level. Every time someone talks about you unkindly and untruthfully maybe, if you do the same thing to them, you have missed the victory of the cross. You just missed your opportunity. You didn't transform it. You moved to the same level that they did. When someone does evil to you and is unjust to you and unfair, if you, by the grace of God, can find the space, the love, the freedom not to do the same thing back, you at that moment are enjoying the victory of the cross. That's what it means. Now, in light of that, brothers and sisters, we have to admit that most Christians have been pretty much exactly like everybody else. We worship the cross as if it's a nice, holy Christian symbol. Who of us would disrespect the cross? But the mystery of the cross, the victory of the cross, is still out there. Jesus did it, and we thank him for it. But it hasn't yet transformed us. That we do not need to hate back when we are hated. We do not need to do ill and bad things to other people when they do bad things to us. Now, let's be honest. How often do we do that? Most of us live out of immediate knee-jerk reactions. Someone gossips about us, so we gossip about them. You've just missed the cross. So it is a crucifixion. It's death to your own self. It's death to your own ego. But this is what makes the Christian people, or should make the Christian people, an entirely different species. That they don't operate the way almost all the world operates. I mean, look at our news today. It's just all about who killed who and how can we kill them back. As if this is going to advance history forward. The only people who move history forward and the work of God and the coming of God forward are the people who join Jesus on the cross and stop doing that. And I admit, at the rational, practical, common sense level, it doesn't make a bit of sense. Just as the cross didn't make a bit of sense. But we all sooner or later have to decide, when we keep signing ourselves with this cross, does it mean anything? Or does it just mean we belong to the Christian group? No, what you have been invited into is a mystery of transformation. That life comes into you at a deadly level. It accuses you, it betrays you, it abandons you, it talks about you, it does evil to you. And you, by the grace of God, are the people who don't have to do it back. You are a transformed people. That is what it means to be signed by the cross. That is the victory of the cross. There is no other victory. And when, in fact, you can find in your heart, in your mind, in your very body, the freedom, and it is a freedom, not to have to hate back the people who hate you, then, in fact, you are saved. That's what it means. You are saved from the ridiculous, infinite, eternal systems of this world, which only continue the problem. God in you has begun the solution.
This homily by Father Richard Rohr is copyright by the Center for Action and Contemplation. Visit cac.org for other educational resources and programs.